welcome to Case Watch. All right, let's see who is in the house. Welcome, Empress Lady Madison. She is a new member on our channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, you guys, I'm going to get right into it. You are going to love today's Case Watch. I promise you, you are going to love today's Case Watch. First coming in, remember to give us a thumbs up because it's going to help push this out a little further. We're trying to build this channel right here, but I'm sure after today, we're going to be able to help a lot of people. So remember, you need to be watching this as a series, okay? So start at episode 1 and make sure you're watching us every week, okay? Well, every 2 weeks. I come on every 2 weeks to do this. Hey, Sharon, how are you? Okay, so it's important that you start at 1 because I'm dropping gems in each one to help you learn how to build your case. All right, so by now, you should already know the rules. I already gave you instructions on how to find that and how to get used to the case website. Not your case website, I'm sorry, the city or the county or the municipality or the parish or the state or the federal website. It's important that you learn how to do that, okay? Hey, gentlemen, how are you? Harrison is in the house. Hey, Dr. Shadworth, got a record. All right. All right, let's see who else is in the house. Hey, Dr. Sharon, won't be able to respond. I'm driving. As you stay safe. Stay safe, stay safe. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to have 2 parts today, okay? 2 parts. So one is going to be for, hi, IDI. Oh, I think that's just Itty 1640. Hello, how are you? Hey, Miss Francis in the house. All right. So today it's going to be 2 parts. It's going to be one for those that are American State Nationals, ASN or ASCs, okay? And then those that are status corrected, it's going to be a part for you because everybody is in different places. And it's going to be another part to really begin to help those who may be incarcerated or in some type of maybe state or county jail, okay? And then it's going to be for several, it's going to be other informational pieces for everybody. All right. Okay, so let's get started. If you are status corrected, okay? If you are status corrected, it is important that you always have a copy of the Expatriation Act of 1868. And I'm putting this in the chat. Expatriation Act 1868. Okay, let me bring it up and show it. Okay, all right. It's important. It's important. It's important. Remember, you guys, I told you, I don't know if it was on this one or if it's the monthly orientation we do for those who are not status corrected. If you're not status corrected, it's important that you tap in when we do our monthly, and I think it's going to be next Friday, 6:30, where I do an orientation explaining you how all of this came about. And you guys, thank you so much for the donations that's down here. You can Zelle it, visit our website, join the school. Okay, all that is right there. So make sure you hone in. And thank you again for those who send those donations. I love you. And Antoinette, thank you. I got yours. I had given you a shout out on the other one, but thank you so much for your donation. All right, and to our new member again, Lady Madison, welcome. All right, so the Expatriation Act of 1868, it came about because when we are born with certain rights, you guys. Just from simply being born, you're born with rights. You're born literally with rights, okay? And so when you're born and they take the identity over to this birth certificate and create another identity because they know that's the only identity that they can communicate with. They can't communicate with the real man, the real woman, natural woman. They can't communicate because the living has all the power, okay? So they had to create this fake entity, this corporation that's on this birth certificate entity to communicate with. Now, what the Expatriation Act of 1868 states is that I determine who I want to govern my life. Let me say that again. The Expatriation Act of 1868 states the natural man, the natural woman determines what government, they choose the government that they want to have jurisdiction over their life. Okay? Let me see what notes I have here. Listen to what it says. Ability to renounce one's citizenship is a national and inherent right of all people. This is what the Expatriation Act of 1868 states. When you are in a court case, if you have shown up as status corrected, that means you are going into the courts as a status corrected natural man or natural woman, and you have your paperwork and you've given them the paperwork and you filed it. What you then need to tell them is that the expatriation, and have a copy of it, the Expatriation Act of 1868 states I get to choose who has jurisdiction over me, and I don't choose a commercial entity to have jurisdiction over me. The Expatriation Act of 1868 gives me the authority to decide, not you deciding for me, because I am not this birth certificate entity, of which is the only entity you can communicate with as a commercial court. So I am telling you, you guys, when you go in and you know how to articulate this, there is no place for them to go. They're not fighting with you, the natural man or natural woman. They are having to have a fight now with the Expatriation Act of 1868. Got to record this thing. Go, Dr. Oh, okay, no problem. We're recording. So I want you to have an understanding of that. That's crucial what I just said. It is so crucial, okay? The Expatriation Act of 1868. So if you're going into a court situation and you want to show up as status corrected, you want to show up as being private, you don't want anything to do with this court case, right? Then you need to have your papers in order. You need to make sure they have a copy of your declaration. They could even have a copy of what you sent to Marco Rubio or Blinken or whoever your person was and whoever the assistant secretary was during that time, right? You send them a copy of that, and you make sure they have a copy of the Expatriation Act. That's all we're talking about right now. We're starting this court case with jurisdiction. A court case cannot go forward until jurisdiction is established. But where people are getting in trouble is they don't know how to show up. Okay? So if you decide I'm going into this court case as being status corrected, what's important that this kind of leads the way in that. And then that it don't allow them to sway from that jurisdictional piece until it is decided, because they will try to trick you and try to sway you in another direction to get you to start answering questions, and they'll try to pull you in even more and even more. No, you can't allow it. You got to circle them right on the way back, circle them all the way back to the jurisdiction piece. And if they can't get jurisdiction, then case is over. That is so important. If we sent it to the old admin, do we need to send it to? Absolutely. You need to send it to everybody. Old admin and new. Oh, you're talking about for being status correct? I think you're talking about for being status corrected. No, for status corrected, you only have to send it one time, if that's what you're asking. You only have to send it one time. You don't have to keep sending it to the new administrations. Okay. All right. So I wanted to talk about that piece as far as the Expatriation Act. I want you to make sure you go and you study the Expatriation Act. It's important to run off a copy, study it so you can have an understanding, so you can articulate the pieces in it. I can promise you, they ain't going to understand it. They probably ain't never even seen the Expatriation Act, because when they go to law school, you guys, they don't teach them the law. Okay, we know we're the only one that really has the law. We have the true law. We have common law, right? Theirs is a legal entity, a legal process. So I can promise you right now, they haven't studied all their statutes. They haven't studied all their codes. There are over 80,000 of them. Okay. So when we talk about all of these acts or what have you, and statutes and codes and court cases that validate who we are, it's important that you understand that and know how to articulate that. Yes, yeah. For Blinken and Rubio, whoever you use when you were status corrected, you only need to do that one time. You don't need to keep resending it. Okay. All right. All right. Now that's if you're coming in as status corrected. Now, say for instance, you're status corrected, or you haven't, gotten your status correction paperwork yet, so you're still operating as a United States citizen. Okay, or you're status corrected and you decided to just go into these court cases as the straw man, as what I did. I just went in as a straw man and still beat them down. Okay, you can decide to do either way. But let's just say, for instance, you're in a situation where you've been jammed up, and they've arrested you, or you've been in prison. Okay. So they've arrested you, you're in jail, and now you're over in prison, or whatever the situation is, you're behind bars, and your liberty, your freedom has been taken. There is something called a writ of habeas corpus. Let me put it in chat. Writ of habeas, did I spell it right? Habeas corpus. Writ of habeas corpus. What a writ of habeas corpus is, this is something you can do from the jail. All right. It is a brand new court case. And the thing about it, those that are in jail, they don't have to pay the fees or any of that. They go through something called a track of being a pauper, P-A-U-P-E-R. Okay. So with the writ of habeas corpus, it is simply an application. And on this application, who you're naming as the defendants would most likely be the one who jailed you, maybe the sheriff or the police sergeant, or police chief, or whatever jurisdiction you're in, and then the judge. They will be the defendants in your case when you're doing a writ of habeas corpus. Okay, they would be, with the writ of habeas corpus, they are the defendants. Okay. Now, what I'm going to ask you to do now is I'm going to ask you to make sure you go and study the parts of that application. This is a new court case, and the defendants will be the one that jailed you and the judge. And what they have to do now, they have to prove in this court case that why you are here has been followed with due process and by their statutes and by their codes. So if you feel as though you've been treated wrong, you were jailed, unjustly, you didn't get due process, such as a writ of habeas corpus allows you to go through that process. Okay, it allows you to go through the process of being able to defend yourself and make them question, make them have to answer the question of why. All right. Now, being pro se, we have all of this stuff at our fingertips. We have access to it. We have access to all of these documents, but the problem is that no one knows it. Nobody understands it. So when we talk about a writ of habeas corpus, let's just talk about the word corpus again. There it is again. Corporation, corpus. What that means is the writ of habeas corpus is that comes the body. Who has the right to the body? That's what that means. Who has a right to the corpse? Because they took your corpse and they put you behind bars and took your liberty. So now what you're saying, and do a writ of habeas corpus, do you have the right to my body? You already have my straw man, because I'm representing this straw man in this entity right now, or possibly you could be status corrected if something happens when you get jammed up. But with a writ of habeas corpus, they now have to defend that they have the right to go through all of this. Okay? So it's important that you start understanding these terms. You understand how to use it and understanding how to use it from a pro se standpoint. And I'm going to be honest with you. They are going to ask you 150 billion times, you need an attorney. You need an attorney. If you're pro se, please, you can do this for yourself, because with an attorney, you will be silenced. You won't be able to say anything because your attorney will have to speak for you. And in some cases, that could really hurt you when you're trying to bring your voice forward. Okay. Another writ that I want everybody to make sure you understand is a writ of mandamus. A writ of mandamus. Who that just popped in? Hey, Cher here. Hi, Cher. All right, a writ of mandamus. And with the writ of mandamus, say, for instance, a lower court did something that you felt infringed on your due process or your rights. And I'm talking about the straw man now. We're coming in as a straw man, because remember, if you're status corrected, you're not supposed to be doing any of this stuff. So you have to know how to operate as status corrected in their courts. Okay? So if you're status corrected, all of the stuff that I'm telling you, you should be doing. This is just for those who are trying to go in as a straw man or you've been jammed up. Okay. Now, a writ of mandamus is a writ that actually tells a higher court what a lower court should be doing. So it's kind of like telling on the lower court for doing something they should not have been doing. So you tell the higher court to check the lower court. So you need to, again, research the writ of mandamus to understand in your court case, was something done incorrectly? Was something done illegally? Was something done that infringed on my due process rights, right? Was I not treated fairly? Tell the whole higher court now to make a ruling. You're going to sit back, package it, write it up, send it up to the higher court and make them do a ruling on if that did or did not happen. Now, that's different from an appeal. Okay, if you've had a court case and you got an answer to the court case already, and it didn't come out the way you wanted it to come out, you have 30 days to appeal it. All right. So with a writ of mandamus, it could be one little specific point or something that they did not act, that they did not do. You can do a writ of mandamus, but I want you again to research it. I want you to study it. That's why we're here. Only thing I'm doing is kind of pointing you in the right direction of some of these writs that are out there if you're coming in as the straw man. I've already given you the information if you are status corrected and you're showing up with the Expatriation Act of 1868. All right, so at this point, I'm going to see if anybody has any questions. We're going to invite some people up to talk if you want to talk. But if you have any questions, throw them in chat. Thank y'all so much for the donations. I appreciate you. All right, there is the invitation link. If you want to hit it and chat, if you're joining us live. But you all, that's all I have for you today in Case Watch. What I really dropped is some serious gems. It takes a lot of people a long time to even understand those two writs. And so, I mean, it's tons of writs, it's tons of motions. It's tons of them. You will hear that it's not, but it is. It is. It's a lot of them. And you just have to start studying it. You have to start studying them and you have to start implementing them. I've implemented a lot of these things now, and to be able to move my case or my cases forward. Okay. And so that's what you're doing. You know that when you write something in your case, when you are filing documents and all that, that's why it starts off. We move the court, because it's literally like it's a game. It's a game to them. So you're literally moving on the court. That's why they call it court. It's a game. It's like basketball court. And so it's your move, it's my move. It's your move, it's my move. It's your move, it's my. It's just back and forth, back and forth. And sometimes, in my cases, I've been able to do move, 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 and waiting to see what you're gonna do. I love them kind of moves. When I move, 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 because I just be dropping it and waiting to see what they're gonna do, how they are going to respond. Anyway, did I drop the link? Yeah, I did. All right, you guys, do you have anything for me? I'm keeping this one short because that's it, because you have homework to do now. Okay. All right. If you enjoyed this case watch, give us a thumbs up in the chat. Oh, give us a thumbs up on the live too. Give us a thumbs up because it helps push this out a little further. We're going to keep learning. We're going to keep understanding. And we're going to continue to begin to help to set the people free. All right, I don't see anything. I don't see anybody have any questions, and nobody wanted to join me to come speak with me. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks for Case Watch with some more great info. Until next time, bye.